Sportsline Podcast on the CHCH and Parrot Media platforms. I'm Bubba O'Neill. Our first love, you know it, speaking and uncovering amazing sports stories that are in Southern Ontario, and in particular, the Golden Horseshoe, and always the best that we do have to offer. And folks, there are many examples. Today, a very unique conversation that's captured the local greatness of a superstar that's now referred to as the MVP.
Now, when you drive through Hamilton, you're gonna know this is a basketball city, because this is your home and your time.
Go out there and show the world who you really are.
Yo, make sure you bring that thing home, you know what I mean? We're waiting, bro. We're waiting, broski. Bring the trophy to the H, you know what I mean?
Get the job done.
Wow. It's powerful. It's amazing. Yeah, it's special.
What is amazing is that feature done by a TSN Hamilton guy. Matthew Dorman, really appreciate you coming in here. And first things first, I will tell you, I did not know you. I'd heard of your work, but saw this tease, not even the full-length feature.
Right.
And I was blown away at the essence of this report. Thank you for putting that together, because I think it opens up the eyes of so many to our now greatest basketball player ever. Thanks for joining us, first of all.
Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and yeah, I think a lot of the essence of the piece is, from my standpoint as a Hamiltonian, is really kind of capturing it and showing like the beauty of the city, as well as just that there is a great basketball community within Hamilton, and as well as like celebrating something truly historic with SGA and doing it in the right way.
Did you ever, I mean, we all knew that there was an opportunity at SGA being one of the better basketball players in the NBA. Did you ever think that he would ascend to the greatness of where he's at right now? It's mind-blowing to me.
It is. It's crazy. Like it's like when you think about it, it's like, what is it? 5 years in the league. It's like the meteoric rise. Like the changes from like getting traded on draft night, getting traded at the end of the first season, and then the incremental rise of like all-star, right? Scoring title, MVP. Like it's crazy to think, because when you think of Canadian basketball players, you're now thinking, okay, they're going to be pretty good. They're going to be good. But seeing this is just a whole other level.
What did you learn by getting into the roots, which essentially is his roots?
Right.
Because this is what your piece sort of uncovers. What did you learn?
Well, I think what you see is what you get from SGA, right? He's, when people say like he's a humble guy, and he talks about his consistency and the work and effort and relentlessness. That's very apparent from the people who talk to him. Loyalty through the people that he's been in contact with, from his coaches, is like very apparent as well. Like, he has left an impact on all the people that he's been in contact with, and like you truly see that he is that genuine, amazing guy that you see on TV.
When you were speaking to many people that have been in his life for most of his life,
right?
Did you feel the pride?
Oh, totally. Like, listen, everyone, for example, we went to STM, and they made sure, like, we don't want to be, we've only a little claim to 1 year, so they wanted to preface with that. And I was like, but they had so much pride, and the kids are just like over the moon about it, right? Like, they played on the same courts as him. Right? It's like, and then when you see at McNabb with the mural, it's just, I will say this, that was kind of the catalyst of the piece. Because when you drive through Hamilton, and when you look at message boards, they talk about like, why isn't Hamilton, like, you don't see a lot about SGA in the city. You know, like we see like the Angela Mosca mural on the wall, or, you know, you're seeing Tim Horton outside of Tim Hortons on Ottawa Street, but you don't see SGA yet. And then all of a sudden when the mural came in, I was like, we should talk about this. Why? Well, because the rise has been so meteoric for him. We're catching up. We're playing catch up to this guy. So yeah, there was an amazing amount of pride, and people are just so ecstatic about what's happening right now.
You talk about the court that he played on, that many of these kids are playing on right now.
Right.
I also saw that you went to some of the courts, the outdoor courts, where,
Right.
you know what, I can only imagine the ball games that went on, the competition, maybe players that were at the time better than him, the fierce competitive aspect of the man and his people. And you captured all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do my best. There was definitely some courts that I left out that were very important to him. You know, the downtown YMCA, a big court that's associated to SGA. He went there a lot, and I know he's come back and did some camps there. He's gone back to McNabb. People's Church is another court that's very attached to SGA. But I also wanted to get the flavor of the city, right? Like, show the courts, show that it's and wherever I went, there were always people playing. So it's basketball is huge. It's so much bigger. And, I have friends who have grown up through the basketball scene here in Hamilton, and it's only getting bigger.
And that's a great point. I had Victor Razzo, who was a Hamilton sort of high school guy that played at McMaster, went on to play at Carleton. He's now the GM and the head coach of the Niagara River Lions in the CEBL, which is doing so well right now.
Yeah, amazing.
And I think of Hamilton. I think of Teresa Burns running McMaster women's basketball team for 34 years. Just recently retired. And that, there are areas across the country, across this province, that are hockey centers, but basketball is huge in Hamilton and just outside of our area. The Transway programs that have been going on for years.
Right.
It's amazing to see that we now have this example. And I think, and this is what I'll ask you here, is that how much do you think this will translate to a younger audience?
I mean, it goes without saying. Obviously huge, right? You can't have the NBA MVP, one win away from an NBA title, and it not do huge amounts of positivity for the community and inspiring kids. It's inevitable. Right.
I think you have Steve Nash of his era.
Right.
Vince Carter. There was that particular time where everyone wanted to be Air Canada. Mm-hmm. And I just think about now, and remember too, this is what I think is the most wonderful part about his story, is that he plays for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, right.
He's not playing for the Knicks. He's not playing for the Bulls. There were thoughts that when he got shipped from the Clippers to the Thunder, that he was going to be that was just over there. Mm-hmm. And now they have this team, which he's 26 years old, I think.
Yep.
And he's the leader. He's the oldest guy, the youngest team in the league. And like you said, they're on the verge of so many special things.
Yeah, listen, OKC, right? Think about Hamilton, right? It's off. It's not the limelight, right? But because of his work ethic, because of his talent, he's dragged that team along with the other players to the forefront of the NBA right now, right? So it's just, I always think that's the cohesive nature of it with Hamilton and OKC. And what's happening is that Hamilton, the grit and the determination, and I know tons of people in this city that have the same characteristics of that, and it just shows that it's just if you have the talent and you have the ability, it doesn't matter where you come from, we're gonna rise to the top.
Well, you probably can count yourself in that category as well too, in your own field, right? The things that you've done in your career, and
right.
and what I like about SGA, he talks about these kind of things, about inspiring others, right? And I don't know what inspiration he is to you. I know he is for all of us, in a different type of way,
right?
Because we're kind of older, but
right.
but yet here you are. Can you tell me about your TV background?
Sure. So I went to Sheridan College for media arts. I was there for 3 years, and out of when I left there, I didn't ever want to get, sports was never top of mind. It started with I worked at the Royal Botanical Gardens as their video guy after I left for a year, and then through that I was okay, I can use this opportunity to build up a demo and see who takes me. So I applied to work for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Didn't get it the first time. They picked the better guy. And then the guy, they're like, yeah, he's just more. He knew more. 2 months later, they said, that's not working out. So I'm like, okay, I'll come in, and I'm like, guys, I'm a grinder. I'm like, don't worry. And so I was there for 3 years, during this bridge period from Ivor Stadium to the new stadium. So it was like perfect time for storytelling. So when I got in there, I actually had the opportunity, working under my then manager, Matt Smiley, to work on the Tribute to Ivor Wynn video, which was an amazing experience to be out there in the stadium to watch that video in front of people. And then after those 3 years, I got headhunted by TSN. They saw my work, and I've been with TSN for 11 years as a TSN feature producer.
As much as I love the Shai piece, you've become an award-winning. That's special.
Yes.
How does that feel when I say award-winning producer?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I mean, I will say this. I like when the awards are given, and I think about the amount of people that work on these pieces with me and give their time and effort. It's an acknowledgement to the team, right? And it's also an acknowledgement to the families and the players, because it's, as an example, the one that we just won, we won Best Sports Feature this past May for Just Us. And Just Us was the story on Theo Johnson, tight end from the New York Giants. His story is about his mother, who she was raising 6 kids, and during that time as a single parent, she took her family out of a bad situation and ended up getting her law degree to become a lawyer during that time. So I got embedded into that family. I got to learn about them. And when we won, I was just thank you so much for allowing us to be in a part of that story and sharing so much with us, because they took the time. So I love that, and I love to celebrate with so many talented people in the industry that I work with, and that's what the awards mean that to me.
Well, we see that in the pictures there, is that, it does. I mean, I think there's a lot of people in our industry that see, and I can look at myself in a sense of, well, I'm the face, right? Well, there's people editing, and there's people pushing buttons, and there's the lighting, and the set design, and all. There's just so much that goes into it that I think the average person doesn't really see, and sometimes doesn't really get as well too, that this was so much more than myself, and that it is important and incumbent on us to make sure these people are known. And you've worked with, when you're at TSN, you're at the national level. That's the highest of the high.
Yeah, it's crazy to think sometimes. I have the privilege of working with James Duthie and Dave Naylor. I work with these people you see on TV all the time, and I get to see the behind the scenes of who they are, and and then I try not to think about, when a piece is going out, that this is going out to a national audience, right? You got to have a little bit of thick skin when you put a piece out there, right? Because especially in this day and age, it's not going to be all positive, right? Mm-hmm. You can't make everyone happy. No, so it's impossible. You just have to enjoy the ride and be like, hey, this is an opportunity that I have right now to tell stories, to share these athletes' incredible journeys, and hopefully people, majority, like it.
The best part for me, just listening to you, is that they've encompassed you with being the Hamilton guy,
right? Yeah.
And that's got to be great for you too, because that's your bread and butter.
Oh yeah, I love Hamilton. I'm like an ambassador for the city in terms of when I work for TSN. I still live here, obviously. I've done multiple pieces on Hamilton for both Grey Cups that we had here. I did the opening videos for the Grey Cup that introduced our broadcast. I also had a chance to do a piece with Danny McManus about why Hamilton was the perfect spot for the Grey Cup to return after COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So that was another vibe, to be able to go around the city and interview people and showcase the amazing parts of the city and the people in it. So, yeah, they know that if they need a piece that has to do with Hamilton, they're like, well, Matt's going to go a little bit more extra to bring it across the finish line. So I get it.
Well, there may be more coming. When I thought about you doing these pieces, I thought to myself, well, water down. Carter Verhaeghe, he's now a Stanley Cup champion once again. It could have been a nurse finally lifting the Stanley Cup. That's not going to happen, you know. Like, can you imagine how those Oilers feel getting to the top of the mountain twice and just kind of...
I know.
I thought they got pushed around a little bit.
They got pushed around. Those last two games, it was different team. It was a different team. You know, we interviewed Tamika Nurse in the piece, and I brought it up. I was like, so, like, could you imagine a Stanley Cup and, you know, Larry O'B coming back in the same summer? No, it's like, well, not anymore. But it's too bad. It's too bad. I you know, I think I'd like to see them win. I'm not an Oilers fan, but I think it would have been great.
Sure, for sure. I think it just sort of, for Darnell, I mean, people forget he was one of the original, you know, good players that they drafted, that, you know, on this train of building this team that they have right now that keeps getting a sniff. Hey, you brought up Tamika's name. Yeah. I mean, isn't this great now, especially at the station that you work, network that you work at right now, that you get Nurse times 2 as analysts? I think they're outstanding.
Oh, they are. You know, it's funny. Like I had the chance. So we did a Vince Carter piece for his retirement, and it was. And in the piece, it was just people sharing their thoughts and feelings to Vince. So Tamika and Kia were in the piece. Like, I mean, like, and let me just, as an aside, you know, we also we're talking about SGA, but it's just like, you know, Kia went to the same school as SGA, and look what she's done in basketball. You know, Tamika being in both pieces, I asked her to come in because I was like, Tamika, you always bring the heat. Like, I know I'm going to get some good comments from you, and she was amazing. Like, yeah, so it's great to have broadcasters like and analysts like them to be able to contribute to pieces like this, because it just elevates it.
It really does, and I can't help but think of, you know, I obviously seen both of those amazing women play at the high school level, and I would tell you, I thought Tamika was better.
Oh, really?
Right? I mean, she went on to play Wake Forest and some other places as well too, but she, and Oregon as well too, but she was something special. And I think it's great to see her get the opportunity at TSN to talk basketball, because it's all knowledge. I mean, obviously Kia playing in the WNBA, we expect that. Yeah. But Tamika can stand right there, and as you will see, you know, can just represent. And again, we see anyone that's turning on is like, hey, those girls from Hamilton. Yeah. Let's go back to the SGA piece for a little bit here. Can you kind of give our viewers and listeners a kind of feel of how long it took to put this piece together? And it times out at probably about 10 minutes, a little shy 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's about 9 minutes. Yeah. Well, I mean, how does that come to be, right? It's like, basically we wanted to do a piece about SGA going for the finals. It was probably a 3-week process, because I had to turn it around quick, right? So really what it came down to is, okay, can we get some coaches on board? Can we get his friends on board? Like, I was like, I need to track down his friends, which we have like a barbershop scene in there, which was like, and put this in context, we had shot 2 weeks before. They couldn't do the shoot. So then they're like, we can do it a week. And I was like, oh, the same week that it's supposed to air? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'm going to make it happen. So, like it's like a 3-week process of, like, you know, you pitch the idea. And then I definitely had a few sleepless nights last week, just grinding to get it to put it out. But this is very different because it's such a short process. And it's you don't know what's going to happen. Like, are they, game 4 when they came back, right? I'm like, okay, guys, like, we were supposed to air at that game, but we were like, okay, let's hold off for a minute and let's see what happens. Because if they lost, it has to air the next game.
The timing's all off.
So it's like, that's the thing what you're dealing with at the NBA Finals. It's like, when does this work? And it's all dependent on what the team's doing.
You're the only person that was happy about the 3-day breaks.
Yeah, I was totally happy.
It's driving me crazy. I'm like, my goodness, I'm just sorry.
I can sleep again.
How much was left on the cutting floor? This is what people don't understand. How many hours of film just doesn't even make it?
Oh, well, I mean, like, each interview is like about, you do like a 15-20 minute interview. Like, I mean, if you look in the piece, we kind of glazed over his going to the States, and because it was more about Hamilton and just who he is as a person and getting to the NBA, and now what Hamiltonians feel about him. So yeah, like, I mean, we tried to get every person we interviewed that had a message for SGA in the piece, but that's not going to work. So it's like sometimes you're getting a couple words in from each person, right? But yeah, like, I mean, I think I've used a lot, you know. My cameraman was like, Matt, we shot a lot today, and I said, don't worry, I'm going to use most of it, right? Like, because yeah, like, it's, I also think of like the guys that put their effort into this is like, I'm going to try to do as much as I can. Now, if I could have done it longer, I might have done certain things different. And we got SGA very late in the game, the night before we were supposed to finish it. So the fact that we got him watching some messages from people and giving a message to the camera was massive. But we probably would have done more if we had more time with him, right?
His reaction,
so good.
Wow,
so good.
Like, so true, so true. Not an ounce of fake. Just genuinely impressed, seemingly humbled by the whole thing.
Yep.
Almost felt like, now that we've seen him cry. Now that we've seen him cry, that there almost was a little bit of that it brought him all back, and that's what's so genuine about the man.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, when we got it in, Mark Utley, who is my cameraman, he had gone down. I was working on it remotely because I was in the middle of the edit. And when I got it back, I'm like, perfect. This is great. Because it's just like, yeah, it's a great message to that he gave. It's to the point. But it came across so genuine. And, you know, you think about this. This was, when he did that, it was before Game 4. It was before, like, so they're down 2-1, and he was still in that mindset, not phased, and still gives that message, takes the time for us, and then goes off and pulls off that those 15 points or whatever in the last fourth quarter.
Well, I mean, there were so many American media in there. I know Michael Grange. There's one from TSN. I think Javon's down there for TSN. And,
yes.
And Michael Grange for Sportsnet. So there's just not a lot of Canadian media there in these NBA Finals games. And the NBA controls everything, as we know, in terms of the media and who's in that media room.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it, especially win or not, right? I hope he, and I'm talking about Shai, has an idea of what's on his shoulders. And I don't mean this in a pressure way, of the people that are cheering for him, that want this to happen for him so badly. And your piece gives that a little piece there where he kind of sees, like, wow, like, not I'm important, but like I'm inspiring people.
Yeah.
And like people right now genuinely, maybe people that wouldn't normally, I can tell you in this newsroom, people that would not normally be watching basketball this time of the year when there's so many other things to do, I mean, some of them are in baseball mode, they're watching the NBA Finals and to see if this actually happens.
Right. Yeah. It's, I mean, I think he knows. I think one of the things is, like, he doesn't care about the attention. One of the lines is, he doesn't care about the attention, but he commands it. It's like, so SGA is like, his play and all this stuff is like, you can't stop or avoid watching him and caring about him. But for him, I don't think he's looking for that and caring about that. But I will say this, is he doesn't care about the accolades. He likes to come home and, you know, the camps that he does in McNabb, like, that's the most important part. So he knows how this will resonate. And I know he appreciates it and knows he's doing a good job. I mean, I think, listen, we didn't get a chance to interview his parents, but, you know, you look at, there's been a few interviews out lately of his dad talking.
His dad is talking.
But his dad is you can tell, like, just in terms of the humble nature of that, like, he loves his son, but you know he's been brought up right. Right? So he knows what he's doing for kids.
There's no doubt about that. And Shai's talked about that a number of times, even not just recently, even in the past, about my parents, the rules. His mom gave him the rules. Mom doesn't mess around in our household, right? And this is, and coming from West Indian parents, there are rules. But I think in the end, they benefit you. I'll ask you this one final question about the piece.
Sure.
Favorite part?
I liked my favorite part was when his buddies started taking claim to one of his side steps. It was because it was perfect. It was a real moment.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah,
too.
right. It's so good because you know what, his buddies were the glue of the piece, right? They were the connection to him, and it was real. Right, that's how they felt, and it was fun, and yeah, I loved it.
It was good because he showed the sidestep, and he goes, "He learned that from me.
Yeah, so
that's
good.
my move."
Yeah, so good.
One in a barbershop chair, one in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
right?
he admitted it, right? He's like, because he made that team at STM, and he's like, I didn't get cut, but now I'm cutting hair. Yeah.
Life is crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, let's hope that there is a championship. The Larry O.B. ends up in Hamilton. You for sure will have another piece to feature to be cutting.
Yeah, it could happen.
You know, maybe we'll. I already know there's going to be this big civic celebration.
Yes.
That they're just waiting on here in Hamilton City Hall, where people will get to enjoy this and actually maybe visually see the man. But yeah, the MVP trophy and the Larry O.B., boy, seeing both of those here in Hamilton are just mind-blowing to me.
Crazy.
I really appreciate what you've done. I really thank you for coming in and sharing, your thoughts about your work and your piece, and continued success, my friend. You're doing some great work, and I'm already looking forward to your next piece.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate all this. It was a great conversation.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. That's the Sportsline Podcast for the day. And yes, we love talking sports, especially local people that are passionate. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event that deserves a spotlight, we certainly do want to hear from you. Please hit that thumbs up, like, and share button, and be sure to subscribe because you'll always get the latest and greatest edition. For the outstanding people behind the scenes, we talked about that make the Sportsline Podcast possible. I thank you. I appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow.